Hmm. Hello, everyone. How are you? Can you see and hear me okay? I hope everyone's having an amazing, I've been calling it the Pleiades Hyades Ascension Day. It kind of feels like that, though. Hmm, there's this really yummy energy of having a moment to pause after all the transformation that we have been going through over the last month in particular, but for a lot of us, much longer than that, to collect ourselves and reflect on everything that's changed and everywhere we've been as we then journey forward, crossing this golden gateway to find the path continues and another golden gate on the other side. Hmm. There is, I'm feeling called to take a moment before we really start to flow, though it kind of just opened straight in, didn't it? If you're watching and you're here live, hello, hello, hello. It's nice to see you. And if you're watching on the replay, hello, hello, hello. It's nice to see you, to be with you. Take some take some breaths into your heart and allow yourself to open up. Hi, Teddy. Allow yourself to open up and breathe. There's a sense that the places that we're going to be going today might be a little hard for the rational mind. So allowing a little bit more space, a little love and gratitude to go to that part of your being that wants to so desperately to understand and to be able to explain something. And let yourself breathe into your heart. Today it feels like we're going into the way that it came through for me is a description of the ascension process. And my being says, well, it's only a description, it is not the description. For each one of us is unique. The template that we've come in with is unique. The work that we're here to do is unique. So the way that this process will unfold is also unique. I'm going to share the way that it was shown to me, and then we can kind of go and see where it spins from there. In meditation the other morning, I was being shown the pentacle, the 5-pointed star inside the circle, which is also the exact same shape that Venus makes from our vantage point through her orbital cycle. It is also the same as our body, with our arms out and our legs wide, stanced. And it's through our body that we're going to start to go into this. You can have your eyes open or closed, however feels the best to you as we start to connect in with the top point of the pentacle, spirit or ether, higher self, the divine, universal connection, soul star chakra. The first step, and when you draw the star, the first line takes you from this space down to a point called Earth. This shows that the first thing that the spirit must do, that the soul must do in order to ascend, is first descend, to become earthed, to become embodied. Once the spirit has taken an embodied form, the next line that is drawn is from earth to air. Air is our mental body, our thoughts. In some ways, it's also our life force, right? It's prana, it's the air that we breathe. This line from embodied being, from physical being, to the mental realm, to the mental body, can get a little sticky. We can sometimes forget that we are a soul, a spirit in embodied form, and overly connect. Our mind believes that our body is what we are. But it's also through that connection that we're able to connect our thoughts, our patterns. And if we're able to listen to what our mind is saying, we can cross the line over to water, to our emotional body. We can start to feel our thoughts as we also allow these old cycles of behavior to connect in with the traumas, the wounds that perhaps brought them on in the first place. Perhaps you didn't want to connect that you were anything more than your physical being because you have a deep wound around spirituality. And if you're able to connect that thought to your emotions, you're able to connect at a deeper level to why. And when you can do that, you can send the water down to embrace the fire, your sense of self, your spirit. From this place, you can connect more with who you actually are, what you actually are. You can send a purifying flame up to burn away anything that isn't true anymore from this beautiful process that you've already alivened within yourself. And through that, come all the way back up again to spirit. That's one way to explore this. But now there's a circle around this point, like a wheel, which is a reminder of a couple of different things. It's a reminder that this is never ending. This is an infinite loop. There's always a little bit more, a little deeper, and a little higher to go. It's also helping us to see that once spirit has embodied, how we're called to move through the rest is part of our unique blueprint. One of the things that came in this morning going into this meditation was Venus and Venus's connection to the Pentacle, to this process. And at one level, it feels like a reminder that all of this is an expression of love. All of this is an expression of love. Then there was this other piece that came in that I thought was really interesting and feels like it could be a place to play for each and every one of us. And that is, what element is your natal Venus in? Is your natal Venus in a fire sign like Leo or Sagittarius or Aries? Is it in a water sign like Cancer or Pisces or Scorpio? The way that it was shared with me is that the sign where your Venus sits is keying you into a place where let's see if we can get these words right. This is where you will do the most playing. This is where you will do the most playing. So if you have Venus in a fire sign like I do, my Venus is in Leo, then a lot of your processing might feel like purifications and a reconnection to spirit over and over and over again. And that you can spin through the mental and emotional really quickly, but then that physical body and fire aspects might feel like there's a lot more going on, that you're cycling through that in a little bit. I'm trying not to use the word stuck. I'm trying not to use the word stuck. Yeah, Jay, the Virgo, it feels like it could be, when you've got that earth sign, that it might manifest in a physical way, like a pain in your body, even as you're cycling into one ring of the spiral into another. With water, you might have this intense emotional release that needs to happen. There are all of these ways, like, okay, it's time to purify again. Yeah. All of these ways in which, okay, I've connected to the mental realm of why I'm having this problem. And that's really quick because your Venus isn't in air. And then you get into the water and you have a Venus in Scorpio, and all of a sudden you're just floodgates. Floodgates. And you're like, oh, I'm going to be crying forever. I'm going to be crying forever. And then you finally are able to get to the kernel and bring in the fire, but it takes a little bit longer. And if you're in earth, it's that next state of coming into physical being. And it's possible that it will feel really uncomfortable to be physical beingness. Or it could feel like that's all you want to do. And that's the beauty of these journeys, right? Like, because each of us is wholly unique, the way that this the way that this pentacle is going to move for us is also wholly unique. What if your Venus in Virgo happens to be making a square to your sun? Then your sense of self might be kicked up a little bit every time you go into embodied love. Hmm. Yeah, Teddy, that the Venus in Leo feels like there's a real, like, that's a real connection to sense of self being. The way it came in for me this morning as I was meditating on it was every moment as you are on your path, the trigger, the thing that's going to be kicked up for you, in this case it was for me, is disempowerment and strength and courage. How can you stand empowered with love and courage, a bold lion heart, in this situation now? And so, depending on how you're journeying, and all of this, our birth map is multidimensional and huge, so much bigger than what we normally see on a chart. So all of these other little aspects also come into play. Little aspects. This golden gateway that we're in right now with the Pleiades and the Hyades, these sister star star clusters, guardians of this golden gate. As I was feeling into it, there was this sense of remembering that each part, you each transit through a golden gate opens up to another path, to another golden gate. And so it almost seems unattainable. It's that place that our soul most yearns for. Teresa of Avila talked about this, that place that our soul most yearns for, that we're constantly singing the praise to access. And that's what this pentacle journey, this Venus journey, feels like to me also, is this constantly shifting, constantly spinning journey deeper and deeper into ourselves to access ever more of our innate light. And it's not, I mean, yes, we connect in with our soul star, but that's not something separate from us. It is also us. It is where our Akash is held, but our Akash is also held within our deep chambers of our heart. So can we see how everything's connected? The way it's coming in this exact moment is to look at that connection between what we call our soul star or our higher self and the deepest point of our heart. And to start to realize how they are the same point. They are the same point. What does that feel like to realize that this spot, this thing that we constantly are told to call into ourselves, call in your higher self, call in your higher self, is actually calling in yourself deeper into yourself, deeper into your heart. And then to allow yourself to birth within yourself. And that the ascension journey is, in fact, a constant emergence. It's a constant emergence of self from deep within self. When I've said that, what if you're already whole? It feels like that's what this means. It's not that you're broken or that you've been separated. It's simply that somewhere in this journey of emerging back into yourself, there's little places, there's little like divots in the path that you can kind of trip in and say, oh, what is that? Oh, shoot. I completely forgot that that pothole was there. I just stubbed my toe, and now I have to go through all of the emotions of having stubbed my toe. Ouch, shit, that hurts. I hope it's not broken. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to share a little bit. It's coming in to share a little bit about one of the ways that this came in for me yesterday morning with one of the cats that lives with me, Petra, who has decided over the last few months that she wants breakfast sometime between 3:30 and 4:30 a.m. every morning. And in order to have this happen, she jumps on top of my dresser and starts eating plants to get me up out of bed. The other morning, I was sleeping deeply. She jumped up there. I had to get her down, this poor plant. And I cuddled her and was like, oh, it's fine. Yay. I love you. And I went back to sleep. I also went to the bathroom and then got back in bed. And then Mike got up, he went to the bathroom, and then he got back in bed. And within 30 seconds of him getting back in bed, she was back up on top of the dresser. And I was like, can you get her? Can you get her this time? But I must have been whispering or he was deep sleep because he didn't hear me. And I was like, oh, I was so annoyed. Oh, it was so annoying. How dare she make me have to get up again? And I grabbed her and I was like, I still love you. You're not in the bedroom anymore. And I shut the door. And my instant thought as I was getting back in bed is, how dare you be so annoyed at her being a cat? And I caught it. and was like, oh, am I not allowed to be annoyed when something's annoying? Am I not allowed to have a human emotion towards something? And so instead of doing what I normally would have done, which is judge myself for having been annoyed and then move straight out of it and say, I'm not allowed to feel that, get rid of it, which means that it just goes deeper in. I allowed it to flow through the entire cycle, not becoming the annoyance, realizing that it was a temporary state of emotion that I was allowing to flow through my system. And once it was ready to be burned up and to return to my natural state, which is love, and to then connect in with it was all love in the first place. Every aspect of this annoyance was also love. And all of a sudden, I wasn't judging myself anymore. Like, oh, I must not be walking my path correctly if I get annoyed at the cat because she woke me up again. And this tiny seeming way in which we're judging ourselves feels like a good example of those potholes, those little places where we can trip. And a lot of times we don't even notice them. But if you can start to pick up on the big ones slowly or maybe quickly, depending on your makeup, you can also start to pick up on the more subtle seeming ones, the ones that are so ingrained you don't even notice them. It's like it's like how people robotically drive a car when they're on their way home from a place that they go to a lot, work or the grocery store. And the reason that the accident happens within a block from the house is because they've gone into autopilot. So catching those autopilot moments is part of this pentacle journey as well. I love that it's in your first house, Teddy. That feels, yeah, like you're going through this empowerment journey and it's in your house of I am. So you're really being asked to stand up in the truth of who you are over and over and over, being held to the fire, as it were. Mine's in my ninth house. So I'm constantly seeking empowerment. I'm constantly seeking the fire. It feels like a mm, a bit of a meditation wants to come through for us. Something to help kind of ground this energy in. Although it also kind of feels like this whole thing has been a meditation. Oh, but I will have you, if it's comfortable and you're in a place where you can, I'll ask you to close your eyes. Start to breathe deeply into your heart space. From that deep point of light within the center of your heart, allow it to connect with that point that also appears to be above your head, your soul star chakra. There's something there for you in this point of light. Something to bring into your physical being. Allow it to travel down your body to connect in with your left foot. And even deeper still, to the chakra that connects you to the earth, your earth star. As you ask yourself now, what is this? It rises up across your whole body to connect in with your right hand. You can feel how this is also your heart. As you are able to bring words and thoughts to this now, it travels across your chest, through your heart, and comes to your left hand. You can really feel it now. You can feel its weight and its lightness. It flows through your being like your blood. Like your tears. Perhaps it moves back and forth across your heart space a little bit, allowing you to connect more and more deeply, to identify the story, to feel the love and the grief contained within it. Begins to spin within your heart center. As you begin to draw your attention down to your right foot, Connecting in once again from there to your Earth Star chakra. You start to discover the parts of this story that are actually true and those which you no longer need. As this happens, a brilliant violet flame rushes up, engulfing this entire spinning vibration of you and your entire being. Allowing that which you no longer need to be transmuted as you carry it back up through your heart to that point that connects within and without you. And then you bring all of your attention to that kernel of truth, the gift held within that story, which connects down once again to your Earth Star, allowing you to anchor that truth into your being at an even deeper level. When you're ready, allow yourself to come back into the room in which you're sitting or laying down, to feel the air on your skin moving through your sinuses into your lungs, to feel the waters of your body flowing like your blood flows, to feel that fire in your belly, and to feel the earth beneath your feet. Remember that you are a soul in a human body, dancing this joy of existence. And that it is all love. And when you feel ready, you can begin to blink your eyes open. And come back to the screen and join me again. I thought maybe we would go into a little bit of the astrology, the cosmic blueprint of the coming Sagittarius new moon, and to talk about the 1122 portal of tomorrow. Hmm. The truest way to be in this moment feels like remembering that it is infinite, that we will pass through this golden gateway. The sun will shift from the sign of transformation to the sign of seeking ever higher. And those ideas that came in, we can, yes, Barb, 1122, where you are. And we can bring the kernel, that little seed of truth, into being now. We can bring that into being now. There are so many ways in which this coming new moon reflects that. We have a very close trine between Venus and Mercury and Chiron on this new moon. And it's Venus and Mercury in Sagittarius with that expression of seeking higher love, seeking higher and higher expressions of love. And we can feel that the gift that Chiron is giving us in Aries is empowered love. It's not asking us to do anything other than remember, I am love. As we allow the frequencies of this new moon to flow through our beings, we're being templated with the energy of what is coming through this cycle of falling away to be reborn. And it feels like a gift from ourselves, from the cosmos, to help us through the rest of this transition time, the falling away that's occurring over the next year or so that we still have it. Something to remember, to taste in the back of our throats, in the back of our tongues, in our heart space, to remember why we're doing this. I shared recently in the Members Portal Live that one of the ways that I work with the blue flame is asking it to arise from within my heart space and flow through my being like the blood flows. Each night before I go to sleep and each morning as I wake up. And part of that is me saying to myself, help me remember why I do this. why I do the journeying work that I do in my dream time, and why I do the journeying work that I do in my waking time. Why I am called to hold the spaces that I'm called to hold, and to share the blue flame. This new moon feels like an invitation for each of us to touch into this higher expression of love. And when things get a little wonky, to be able to connect in back to that place because we remember what it feels like, so that we can step forward once again towards that golden gate that seems so far away. Hmm. Thank you all so much for joining me today. It has been so much love, Yum. And this day is, it feels like an amazing shifting of energy. So, however that is showing up for you, mm, sending massive amounts of love as you journey. I will post links to all of the newsletter and all of the things below this once the stream is all ready. For now, though, let's just love each other for a minute and then we'll sign off. Mm. Mm. As always, and in always, so much and many loves to you from all the dimensions. Mm. Mm. Mm.